pledge allegiance
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. So I know we talked about this, but in case people just joined, this is a public hearing to discuss the small cities grant. It's required by state law. This is a grant that helps our public hearing to discuss small people. I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. This grant is to help disadvantaged people at 0% interest rate loans secured by their properties. They can pay the loans off at any time. And at worst, they pay the loan off when they sell the property or it's disposed of if they pass away. We have about $85,000 left in the program right now. We are having trouble getting people to qualify for these loans. They either make too much money or they don't have 10% equity in their house. And it's a real problem. And we're trying to work our way through it. And I know Lisa Lowe, who administers the program for us, has been working with the state to open this up a little bit more because the income level is $52,250 and a lot of people make more than that. Or in their houses, they have second mortgages and they just don't have the 10% equity, which is a real problem. So we're going to continue to offer this program and hopefully there'll be people who can qualify in the future. I know that we did get one public comment from Betsy McElvain in support of these small cities grants, and I agree with her. I think it's a good program. It's very helpful. It lets people put things like new furnaces in or new roof on their house, safety issues, and so I'd like to continue the program. I think we should. What do you guys think?
Steve,
I agree.
If I could comment, would it be advantageous for you to just let the residents know where the funding, what is the funding for this program? Is it state driven, local driven?
Yeah, it comes from the state. It comes from the state. I'm not sure exactly. I'm not sure where in the state, but it comes from the state. And we applied for a second $400,000 group of loans because we used all our money, and we still have the $85,000 available. So if anybody wants a loan and needs to fix up their house, call us and we'll help you.
Right. And it's administered by Lisa Lowe.
Right, Lisa
So
Lowe
it's a third party.
It's third party. The amount of paperwork on this is just, it's like FEMA. It's unbelievable how much paperwork. I sign stuff probably once a week on it. So you do need somebody who's a professional, and that's allowed under the program, and she gets paid by the program.
So would the procedure be, Steve, for you to get the, not the restrictions, but the qualifications, open them up so that more people may be available, then it would come back to the Board of Selectmen and we would approve it? Or does it just?
No. It's state guidelines. It's all state. We can't change the guidelines at all. So I know I have talked to Steve Hardy about this and he's been very receptive. And I know Lisa Lowe talks to state legislators all the time. We'd like to open up the program a little bit more, maybe make it a little easier for people to borrow money. And it's secured by their house. So it's a pretty safe investment on the part of the city. And it's not our money. It's not the town's money. And the town is not at risk in any way on this. We just administer it.
Well, I would be in favor, whatever you can do.
Yes, I'd want to keep it open, allow the residents to continue to use it.
Okay, so that's what we'll do. Any public comment? Anybody out there want to make a comment? Raise your hand, or I think you press *1 on your phone or *9. I don't see anybody else out there though. Yeah, it's just us. Okay, this has been a really big meeting we've had here. Okay, so we're going to reconvene at 7.
Okay.
Okay. So we're just going to leave this line open for now, and then I'll talk to you at 7.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you.
All right, talk to you soon.
That's pretty cool. I mean, the clarity in both visual and audio is really good.
Yeah, I guess or maybe Dan will come on for the 7 o'clock. Just to, like, in our last meeting where he was, kind of directing people to be able to talk and not talk over each other.
Right. I thought didn't we have their names on the board so we knew? I thought there were it was designated that who they were.
Yeah, if there were names attached to it, otherwise there was just a phone number.
Yeah, yeah.
Nelson to come visit us again. I wouldn't say next month. I think we're still going to be on lockdown. But some of them, they're really good singers.
The year that
Yeah.
Jack was there, who won that year? Do you remember?
No, I don't.
Wasn't he there the year, oh, what was his name? I think it was a guy that won it. I can't remember. I can't remember his name. Adam,
Wait.
Adam.
I don't know.
I can't
Okay, it's 7 o'clock. Shall we start our meeting?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. Will everybody join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Mhm.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag,
to the
United
republic,
to the republic,
and one nation, under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty,
with liberty
justice.
and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, so this is our first virtual Board of Selectmen meeting. Harry and Sue are here. We will have public comment at the end of the meeting. To raise your hand if you're on a computer, you just raise your hand on the computer, or I think you press *9 at the end of the meeting if you want the moderator to open up your telephone for comment. A couple of announcements to start. The Board of Finance public hearing on the proposed fiscal year 2020-21 is right now set for tomorrow, Tuesday, April 7th at 7 p.m. Members of the public may view the meeting live on the town website and may participate by dial-in during the public comment, and instructions will be on the agenda, which will also be on the town website on the front page. On the coronavirus, we now have 83 cases in Brookfield. The state is changing the way that they report things, but we're keeping track of every single case. The state is only going to report the last, I believe they said 20 days, because they figure if somebody got it 25 days ago, I think their thinking is that that person is cured and now out of the system, as it were. We're gonna try to have coffee with the community on Saturday, April 25th from 9 to 10:30, but we're canceling that. I don't think we're going to have an opportunity to do that. We have just implemented a new system. 828 people signed up over the weekend for a code red announcements. I first want to say that this is not a replacement for the reverse 911. Reverse 911 will still work. People will still get calls from that. It will be identified as a reverse 911 call. The system we're using is an information system that shoots out information, either text, voicemail, or an email to you. And we're going to be sending those out on a regular basis. I don't know if we're going to do it on a daily basis. If we don't have a lot of information to give out, I don't want to waste people's time. And I'll talk to Sue and Harry about that as we go along. But we sent our first one out today, and I think it was well received. And we encourage everyone to sign up. You can go onto the Code Red logo on the bottom page of the town, on the bottom of the first page in the town website. It's very easy. You can say, okay, just give me text. I only want email. I only want a voice call. So that's what we have with that. For correspondence, we got a letter from resident Fred Ball to the Library Board of Trustees regarding their policies, a letter from the Planning Commission dated 4/3/20 regarding 731 Federal Road Sewer Extension Report. And resident Mary Capiello sent us a letter dated today 4/6. Marcia, are you on? Marcia?
I saw her.
Yeah. Damien, can you make sure that Marcia is up? There you are. Hi, Marcia. You want to give us your financial report?
Marcia, let me see. Hey.
We still can't hear you.
Yeah, you don't have audio on, Marcia. Did you dial in or use the computer?
No, we still can't hear you.
You only see her video, don't see her has voice.
Okay, you're going to dial in. She's going to dial in.
Okay.
Okay. Let's just wait for her to dial in and we'll be all set.
This is just a little taste of silent movies.
Yeah. We still can't hear you, Marcia. Have you got the right number? Still can't hear you. Try going to the town website and looking at the number that's on the front page. Can you unmute 860-705-05? Can you do that, Diamond?
Yes, right. Okay.
Okay, now can you hear me?
There you go.
Yes.
All right, good. That, so if you're playing that conference call bingo game, that you probably just got about 3 squares with that one. But we're working on the financial report for the end of March, that ended last Tuesday. We've met with every department to look at their budget, not only like we would normally look at their budget, but also for the additional costs or the reduction in costs that they might have with respect to the coronavirus. We're also talking a little bit about revenue. It's too early for the department heads to really tell where they're going to end up on the revenues and how exactly this is affecting them. So that's a little bit hard to predict. But the expenditures, just trying to quantify them, that right now we will be under budget. We do have some money, about 200 and maybe the 205 or some number similar to that we're holding aside for the Board of Ed. But even without that, with that held aside for them, which is what they previously needed, we haven't heard any updates from them, which I know that they're working on. We still are covering our corona costs with our existing budget. That we will have to make some transfers. I was hoping to get those ready for tonight, but it just didn't happen. But essentially, if you think about, there's 2 big expenses that we had: a water tower and the corona costs. Those are the 2 unbudgeted things that we want to cover, and the bulk of that can be covered with the reduction in snowplow costs, the
Right.
salt and sand.
And at the same time, I think we should also make sure that everybody understands that Connecticut has been declared a FEMA disaster area. And right now the reimbursement rate is 75%. And we are tracking every single expense. Since we had the macro burst, we know how to do that now to meet FEMA requirements. So there is a very good opportunity that we would get 75% of our extraordinary costs for this virus pandemic paid for by the federal government. That obviously it'll take probably 18 to 24 months after it's over, and maybe longer because so many states have been declared disaster areas. I believe every single state has been declared. So, but we're tracking it, and we've got a separate account for it, and people are being really good about keeping the details.
And we've got that, plus every day the governor is updating things, and some which cost us money, some which save us money. So as we try to get that refined, it's just a huge process. There's some money out there for extended FMLA, but we learned that it doesn't apply to governments. But they're going to try and make it, they're trying to add government. So it's just a tough thing to pin down, because every day it's changing. And there is another conference that I'm attending, a webinar that I'm attending on Wednesday, to talk about maybe freeing up some other grants that we have that we might be able to use for some of our additional costs. So it's right now, it's just like, we don't know, but we're comfortable where we stand right now.
Okay,
Any
thank you
questions?
very much, Marsha. I appreciate it very much. Yvonne Check is still on, right, Yvonne?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Can you give us a presentation on the Poet Laureate program you wanted?
I can. I actually have a slide presentation, just a couple of slides. I don't know if Dom Min was able to load that. Oh,
Yeah, just load it, share my screen. Everybody can see it.
That's good.
okay. Can we make it so that it's on presentation mode?
I have to do one by one. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
How many slides have you got here?
There's just 7. They're very quick.
You're a couple.
So this is a presentation for a request to have the Board of Selectmen appoint a poet laureate for the town of Brookfield. And this would be done through a selection panel. The purpose is to promote an appreciation for poetry for the solace and enjoyment and delight of residents of Brookfield. It would be a 3-year appointment. It's an honorary, unpaid position. And I think perhaps never before has it been this important to have a focus on the arts to help us all get through the circumstances. So what is a poet laureate? That's the next slide, Damin. I don't know if you're able to switch it, but
Okay.
the next slide is what is a poet laureate? It's a person who is recognized for his or her longstanding involvement in poetry. And it would be one who demonstrates passion and expertise in the field, and someone who works to promote poetry in the general culture. Basically, someone who engages in activities that promote the public enjoyment of poetry. That's essentially what it comes down to. So why do this now? As I said before, people are really in need of some joy and comfort. And for many people, they will find those things in the arts. So the arts, of course, being essential to every community and enriching every community, especially now. There is a national or a US poet laureate. That person is named Joy Harjo, and there is also a state poet laureate for the state of Connecticut. Many towns also, there are about 30 towns right now in Connecticut that have their own poet laureate, including our neighbors, New Milford and Bethel, and just last month, Ridgefield appointed their first poet laureate as well. So what would this person do? They can, go one more slide. Thank you. So what would this person do? They would organize or take part in poetry readings or workshops that are open to the public. They would foster a public appreciation and participation in poetry and literary arts, promote ideas of compassion and inclusion in their poetry, and be a part of the Connecticut Coalition of Poets Laureate as Brookfield's official representative. And then I added another piece to this, which is to serve as a mentor to at least one aspiring local Brookfield high school student between the ages of 13 and 18 who might be keenly interested in poetry, somebody who might want to pursue the fine arts. I thought it would be a great resume item for them. And I also just think it's important to involve our public schools in this effort. And it'd be a great way to highlight poetry in their curriculum as well. The criteria for such a person, they should be at least 18 years old, be able to serve a 3-year term with a possibility of extension. We could luck out and find someone that is fabulous and have that person for life. This person would have a strong desire in engaging people of all ages in Brookfield through poetry. They should be a Brookfield resident and have some history of advocacy for poetry or experience in the field of poetry. So that would be the criteria. The next slide, who would be on this selection panel? My recommendation would be, I've reviewed all the different ways that area towns have selected their poet laureates, and I put together a suggestion of a 7-member panel. One person from Brookfield Library, one person from the Brookfield Arts Commission, someone from the Brookfield Theater, one person from Brookfield Public Schools, and possibly up to 3 community members. This is a suggestion and can be, tweaked depending on how many people are interested. I have already touched base with the Arts Commission and the theater and have had interest from both of those groups in participating. And let's see, next. How would we do this? A suggested timeline would be applications being accepted for about 30 days. We could start that as early as next week. We would do it on our Brookfield Library website to start. And then the selection panel would review the applications and make a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen as early as June. So the inaugural term could begin in June if we, of course, subject to change given our current circumstances. And last is April is National Poetry Month. So the Academy of American Poets organized National Poetry Month almost 25 years ago as a way to increase awareness and appreciation of poetry in the US. So it would be a timely announcement to be able to make for this honorary position if we're able to get approval for this in the month of April. Thank you for considering this. And does anybody have any questions?
I don't. Sue, Harry?
I think it's a great idea. You did mention that it would be an unpaid position, but would be
Unpaid.
representative to us, to the state. So I would imagine there would be travel involved at different times. How would that be paid for?
That is a good question. No one has so far, I actually spoke with both the Connecticut Coalition of Poets Laureate and I spoke with the state office, and no one has had mentioned any kind of reimbursement for travel, that anyone had requested reimbursement for travel. So I'm not sure that there would be any need to do that.
Okay.
It would be probably up to their ability to be able to participate in those groups.
Okay. Harry, you have any comments?
It sounds very good. Would this position, would she or he have a space in the library, or would they basically work out of their home and then come to the library for, for the time she needed to be there or he needed to be there?
That's a good question, Harry. Well, as you know, the library is quite short on space, but I envision this as a person who would be able to do this from wherever they are, in their home, or if they wanted to use the library community room for the poetry workshops and gatherings, that would absolutely be made available to them as part of our library programming.
Good, thank you.
So having heard that, I'm in support of this. I think it's a great idea. I'd make a motion that we move forward with having a poet laureate. Do we have a second?
Second?
2 seconds. Any further discussion, Harry?
I'm fine.
No.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Carries.
Thank
3.
you, Yvonne.
Thank you
Yep.
very
I think it was
much.
a great idea. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yvonne, you have to stay on for the rest of the meeting.
I'll mute myself and turn my camera off.
Yeah, right. Okay. Thank you, Yvonne. Okay, that's a good idea. Okay, we'll move on to new items. This is an executive order for annual town meeting and referendum. The recommended motion in accordance with the governor of the state of Connecticut's executive order 7L, paragraph 13, which prohibits annual town meetings and referenda for budget adoption, and also orders the Board of Selectmen to authorize and direct the Board of Finance to formulate and adopt the town budget for fiscal year 2020 to 2021. The Board of Selectmen hereby authorizes and directs the Board of Finance to adopt the budget for fiscal year 2020 to 2021 on or before May 5th, and then to set the mill rate. And I would make an adjustment to that we allow the Board of Finance 30 days. So they would have to come to us by June 5th with a budget and mill rate. Do I have a second on that?
I'll second it.
We both will.
So, discussion, you want to go first, Harry?
Yes, Steve, is it June 5th or would 30 days be June 4th?
30 days would probably, no, 30 days, you're right, would be June 4th.
Right.
I agree with that.
I do agree with this. I mean, the bottom line is either way, with or without the 30 days on June 4th, we're going to end up in the same place. And hopefully there may be something done. It certainly doesn't look right now like there will be a different mandate. but if there is, that will be great. But
Yeah.
I think
Sue,
it's a good idea that we
okay,
go ahead.
thank you. Sue, you have any comments?
Well, I would want to add to that if for those people that did participate in our special meeting, I believe it was March 24th, either they participated or saw it afterwards, realized that we all three spoke strongly about the fact that we wanted to be able to go for a vote. This has really been taken out of our hands at this point. I think Marcia's point also tonight that, you know, she's talking about money's coming in and money's going out, and she's looking at things and things are changing daily, that to take the extra 30 days and really see where we are in 30 days is important. So
Yeah, I
I'm
agree.
in favor
agree.
of waiting the 30 days.
One of the things I think that I've gotten a lot of emails, and I've shared a lot of those with both Harry and Sue, is that people are not understanding that we have no choice on this. This is a mandate from the governor. He's said by executive order, the Board of Selectmen must direct the Board of Finance to adopt the budget, and the Board of Finance must adopt the budget and a mill rate. We all, I think all 6 members of the Board of Finance, John Lucas, the treasurer, and the entire Board of Selectmen, we want to have a vote. That's the way we do things in the United States. But under these extraordinary circumstances, the governor is not allowing us to do that. So I think allowing the 30 days will allow the Board of Finance to gather more information. We'll have a much better idea of where we are with this virus, what our costs will be. And I think it's the right thing to do. I know it does cause some problems for the schools with sending out letters to non-tenured teachers, but that usually happens almost every year. So we might lose some good teachers if they take jobs elsewhere. But I think it's the right thing to do. Tom Beecher, you're on. Do you have any comment? Can we open up?
No, I just want to echo what you just reported, which is that it is mandatory that it be handled this way. And that so long as this executive order is in place, there cannot be, no town or city can have a annual town meeting or a referendum vote. So, and I don't see this order being lifted prior to June 4, but certainly it's been moved out. And if there's a chance that the order gets lifted before that time, then we can see if there's any way to reset the clock and schedule a vote. But
Right.
It is mandatory and there can be no votes under this order.
Right. Thank you very much, Tom. Any further comments with Sue or Harry?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a couple real quick ones.
Sure.
As far as the notices that the non-tenured teachers get, we go through this procedure every year. It's every year they get this this notification. Whether we give the 30-day extension or whether we don't, really doesn't affect if someone is going to take another job because we're out of school or because of the virus. I don't think this is really going to affect that. The other thing that I do want to make clear, Steve, is that the only way possible on June 4th or before that we could have a referendum is if we have a new mandate from Hartford. Just extending the 30 days does not mean at June 4th or June, whenever, that we can now have a referendum. It's only if this mandate is either changed or a new one comes down. And the second thing is, I know there was some confusion about the Board of Finance voting 6-0 to request the Board of Selectmen to grant the extension. It actually wasn't a vote. It was more or less a straw vote where they went around and gave their opinion. And yes, they did all 6 want to request this, but it wasn't actually a vote. And I just wanted to clarify that for people so that they don't get confused.
That's true, because we've been getting emails about that and people were misinformed. So, so having everybody's had a say, I would say all in favor of directing the Board of Finance to adopt the budget and set a mill rate on or before June 4th by giving them the 30 days. Do you approve? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So it's 3-0. Okay. The second item we have is to cancel the bond referendum. I would make a motion that the Board of Selectmen rescinds its prior votes pertaining to the scheduling of a town meeting and referendum for the 2020 2021 capital improvement projects and hereby cancels the referendum scheduled for May 19th, 2020. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second, any discussion? I think this follows up very closely with what we were doing just now. We just can't hold a referendum. And guidance has not come down from the governor that we could include this by having the Board of Finance or the Board of Selectmen direct the Board of Finance to adopt the capital budget. This is still an open question. So I don't think, there's no way we can hold this on May 19th. So I think we wait till we get further guidance and then set a town meeting and a referendum.
Right.
That's my opinion.
I agree.
Harry?
Yes, no, I agree. Yes.
Okay, so all those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Did
Aye.
anyone second?
Sorry, yeah, didn't we get a second? Okay, can I have a second, Sue?
I'll second.
Second, sorry, I thought we did that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, carries 3-0. Board of Selectmen resolution adopting a low interest program. There are two programs out, well, let me make the motion first. In accordance with the Governor of the State of Connecticut's Executive Order 7S, paragraph 6, which directs the town of Brookfield through its Board of Selectmen to offer a tax relief program to assist its citizens impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, therefore, the Board of Selectmen hereby authorizes, adopts, and implements a low interest rate program with respect to taxes and municipal and sewer water charges as fully set forth in Executive Order 7S, paragraph 6. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, Harry seconds that. There are two programs that the governor has outlined. One is the low interest. We would change the interest rate for delinquent bills from 18% to 3% annually to be taken monthly. The second one is to delay the payment of taxes for up to 90 days. My feeling is right now, I don't think we need to go to both, but I think it would for some people, if they're having trouble paying their bills, to go to a low interest rate would really help a lot of people who are in a difficult situation. I think it's a good medium ground for us, and it's something we can implement and manage very quickly. Sue, Harry, any comments, concerns?
I agree. I think this is a good option for some people.
Right. I agree. It's all safe.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, carry 3-0. Okay. Tom, do you have any comment on that?
I don't, no.
Okay, thank you. Attorney for the new school construction project, the recommend motion that the selectmen authorize the MBC to utilize Robinson and Cole LLP as construction legal counsel for the purpose of reviewing and advising the town on the construction management contract for O&G Industries. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? I just want to say one thing. The NBC went out to bid. They got a number of bidders to come in. They believe that the firm that Robinson and Cole is the most qualified. The architect was also in construction for a while. The partner in the firm was in construction for a while and was an architect. So I think they've got somebody very qualified. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, carries 3-0. Okay. Brookfield Village LLC request for an extension. The recommended motion is that due to circumstances arising out of the COVID-19 pandemic and declaration of the state and local states of emergency, the Board of Selectmen hereby extends the deadline set forth in paragraph 3 of the tax deferral agreement to start construction of building 2 and 3 from May 3rd, 2020 to July 3rd, 2020. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second, any discussion?
The concerns that they're running into, is it hiring people, supply chain? Did they say
It's
what their concerns are?
Yeah, it's mostly just everybody's working from home, and a lot of their suppliers didn't have the, bandwidth to work from home and get these things done quick enough. They absolutely want to build, they want to start, but they just couldn't get all the stuff in time. I had a long talk with Alan Rothman, the agent for Brookfield Village, and they're raring to go. They just are not getting all their bids in so they can get the project off the ground as quickly as they want. But I'm in favor of doing this.
Yeah.
Harry, any comment?
Yeah, I do. Of course, I'm very, I've been working closely with this project, and I'm very disappointed, but I really think that this is a wise decision, not only because of the vendors, but think of the number of workers that are going to be in the Four Corners working.
Right.
Here we are at the point where we're hoping to meet the apex fairly soon and start going on the other side of this pandemic. And then, to bring in however many, 30, 40, 50 contractors, probably from multiple states. I just think it's, as a health issue, I think it's a very wise decision to hold this off.
I agree. I agree. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, carries 3-0. Brookfield Market Sewer Proposal. I would make a motion, the WPCA discussed the proposal for adding sewers to the Brookfield Market area to our last Board of Selectmen meeting. They've sent further information. And I think what we would like to do, I think what we should do is to table this for now and ask them to come back to us in April, March, April, May or June. What do you guys think?
Let's see, April, we're in April, May. I would say June, Steve.
June? Okay.
Safe.
Sue?
To be
Sue?
safe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I make the motion that we table this and ask them to join us in June. Do I have a second?
Second.
Sue seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, carries 3-0. The Small Cities Housing Rehabilitation Grant, we had a packed hearing at 6:30 this evening to discuss this. It's required by an annual meeting. It's a good program. It's paid for by the state. Homeowners get a 0% interest loan, which is backed by their actual property. They either can pay the loan off as they go along, or it's paid off when they sell their house. There is no Brookfield money involved in this. It's simply a program where we administer it for people who are need help to put roofs on or new furnaces and things like that. So it's a good program. And we're hoping, we've discussed at the hearing, that we can possibly get the state to expand the program, make it a little easier for people to get a loan. But that's an ongoing discussion. I've had that with Steve Harding, and he's been very supportive of that too. I don't think there's any motion to be made here, just it's a quick discussion. Sue, Harry, anything you wanted to discuss about that?
No, I think we, our prior meeting, we went through all the details. So.
Yeah. Okay, now we move on to our consent agenda. I would make a motion that the selectmen approve the items on a consent agenda. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second it. Just a couple things. One, there's an Erickson Farm open space lease agreement for the Giving Garden, which will be ended by October 30th, 2020. That's pretty typical. They have a garden there. There is a town clerk's mutual aid agreement to ensure a proper presidential primary election process where each town will support other towns if they need it. And third, the United Way grant, they're applying for a grant with the United Way, and we just have to approve it. Then further to that is the Board of Selectmen meetings, employee changes. Michael Connors was hired as Deputy Fire Marshal. We released no releases of driveway bonds, and there was one final bond release of $3,400 on 140 Laurel Hill Road. So having made the motion in a second, all those in favor?
Yes, can I just make a point though,
Sure.
Steve? With the
Sure.
Erickson Farm open space,
Yeah.
this is something that is on an annual basis, and their leases during the growing season.
Right.
So it's not unusual to be showing that it's going to be ending on October 31st. I don't want anyone to worry about that. It's an annual lease that we have with them.
Yeah, and we've been doing this, I should have said that. Very good point, Sue. We've been doing this for many, many years, and this is the way we do it. It's just tidying it up and making sure that it's correct.
Did you add the United Way grant to the agenda?
Yes, we did.
You did? Okay, thank you.
Hello, Jenny.
Hi. Hi, Harry.
She's hiding in her office. So having made the motion and having a second, all those in favor say aye.
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 Carries 3-0. Additional monthly agenda items, appointments, Western Regional Tourism District. Recommend motion is that the selectmen appoint Greg Dembowski, Economic Development Director, as the town representative for a term of 4/6/20 to 4/3/23. Do I have a second?
I'll second that for Greg.
Harry, jump right on that one.
Mhm.
Okay,
Greg's a
any
busy guy.
discussion?
No,
All those
just
in
that he's a
favor?
very busy man.
Yeah, he is. He's a good guy.
Mhm.
All in favor?
Yes, I just want to say, Steve, for those who don't know Greg, He is just such an asset to the downtown and to Brookfield. He volunteers in so many different directions. I just wanted to put a little plug in him for him because most people don't know him and have no idea how valuable he has been to Brookfield.
He has been. I mean, he ran our entire macroburst FEMA application process, and we were one of the first towns to get paid, and we didn't get anything denied. And that was all due to Greg Dombowski. He's very, very good at what he does.
A quiet and valuable man in the background.
Yes,
And not a
And
big,
the finance office seconds that.
you're right. Okay, now it is time for public comment. Does anybody wish to make public comment? If you do, raise your hand if you're on your computer, or dial *9 on your phone, and Damin will allow you to speak.
I would.
Hey, Nelson, how are you? You want to speak?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Am I on? Okay, excellent. Let's see. We would also like to participate in the sewer department in the FEMA program. So I think it all went through the town the first time.
Right.
We didn't make our own for the macroburst.
Right.
And
No,
so-
you can come through us.
And then we did submit monies. Did you get the monies from FEMA already for the macroburst?
Yeah, we've been paid.
Okay. Well, the sewer
Should be
department
getting-
hasn't.
Well, we'll make sure you get that. Marcia's smiling. Let's check that and make sure, because some of that money was due to the WPCA
Yeah.
for expenses that you had, and it should go to you.
And then as far as the reduction to 3% interest rate for those that are delayed in payments or can't for some reason, there had to be, according to the directive, the Office of Policy Management was supposed to come out with some sort of advisory as to how that was going to work. So it just doesn't apply to anybody. And
No,
so
it
they
doesn't. You're
they
right.
haven't done it yet.
No, got that this afternoon, well, about an hour ago. So we'll
Oh.
shoot it over to you. But this is a very good point. This is only for people who have COVID-19 difficulties, and their work has been affected by COVID-19. They have to, you just can't walk in and say, I'd like to get the low interest. You have to prove that it was COVID-19 related.
Right. So, okay. So you're on it. So good. We'll just follow your directives, and then it becomes kind of an accounting nightmare, but I mean, programming, but people seem to have it organized.
Great, thank you. And then we'll see you in June on the sewer extension.
Yeah. I didn't even make the agenda for the Board of Finance this time, so I'm glad you moved it.
Okay.
No, but
Great, thank
that's
you.
fine. It's not super urgent, but it should be eventually,
Yeah,
Okay.
anybody else like to make a public comment?
Mr. Sluga want to talk.
Okay,
Yes,
Hi,
I
Eileen.
apologize for the name Eileen Saluga. We can't figure out why that's on there. I was on a Zoom earlier as Rich Saluga, so I didn't just change, but
I don't know,
Anyway.
you look more like an Eileen to me.
It's
I
okay,
have,
Rich. I'm down as less.
I just have three questions, actually. First of all, thank you for the 30-day extension. Does that cancel out the public hearing for tomorrow night?
Yeah, my guess is they will cancel it so they can put together a new public hearing based on new information.
Okay. The second thing is there a place on the website where we can see the budget that's proposed?
Yes, we put it on for some reason, it was supposed to be put on the Board of Finance page, but it was on the E-code page, which is hard to find. So we put it back on the Board of Finance page. You should be able to see it right now. Look
Okay.
on the front page, you'll see budgets,
Right.
the website, it should be right in there.
Okay, and then that's the one that the Board of Finance approved, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And the third question or comment I wanted to make was, is there a way that we can get a handle on, I know Marcia made some comments earlier about this, but can we get a handle on the surplus, any surplus funds? Let's assume for the sake of argument, the schools don't open between now and June. any savings with respect to, fuel, supplies, utilities and whatnot, given that the schools aren't open, transportation costs, et
Yeah,
cetera.
right now, Rich, the governor did send an executive order, when the schools closed, they laid off the paraprofessionals, they laid off the nurses, obviously all the bus drivers were laid off. The governor has said we have to hire them all back. And there's a question of whether we have to hire them back as of the date they were released or starting going forward. So the schools are working on that, because what we're trying to do is stress test our budgets to give some more information to the Board of Finance, worst case scenario, best case scenario. So I know they're working on that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else want to make a comment? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will let Sue make the motion.
I'll make a
And our
motion to
first-
adjourn.
Do I have a second?
I will second it.
Okay, thank you, everybody, for joining.